The Galarian Bird Trio may be coming to Pokemon Go soon. The current rumor mill is that the Galarian Bird Trio may be making their debut as early as July 27th. And of course, people want to know, how are these new forms of the classic Bird Trio, how are they going to perform in Pokemon Go? Well, in this video, I'm going to be letting you know just how much potential these Pokemon do have in both raids and in PvP. So let's get into it. Starting out, we got Galarian Articuno over here. Rather than being a flying ice type Pokemon, it is a flying psychic type Pokemon. So if those eyes look like they know something you don't, it's because it can read your mind and see into the future or something like that. It's a psychic type bird. So yeah, Galarian Articuno, level 40 max CP is 3,590. Level 50 would be 4,059. And what's standing out about this Pokemon to me is its 250 attack stat, which is a pretty high attack stat for a flying type Pokemon, just 1 point behind Kanto Moltres, which is at 251. So if Galarian Articuno over here gets a good flying type moveset, it could be one of the best flying type raid attackers in the game. When it comes to the PvP side of the force, I don't really have a whole lot of hope for it. The bulk side isn't looking that great, and with the attack being much higher than the bulk, like, how many psychic flying type Pokemon do we see in the meta? In Master League, we see Lugia. Great League, Ultra League, maybe Lugia. But Lugia, isn't that powerful in the Great League and the Ultra League. And that's even with its thick stats, its Dragon Tail access, its signature attack Aeroblast, and it's still not making that great of an impact, mostly in the Master League. And I don't think Articuno over here is going to stand out much in the Master League either. So as a PvP Pokemon, I don't have a whole lot of hope for it. But when it comes to raids, I think Articuno could possibly be it. Taking a look at the DPS TDO spreadsheet here on GamePress, you can see that if Galarian Articuno here got Gust and Fly, which it can learn in its current move pool, it could beat out Moltres, which is pretty nice. And then if neither of these attacks are like a legacy move, an event move, like Sky Attack is for Moltres, then it can be a Pokemon that you don't have to Elite TM to be the best flying type, raid attacker. That's a non-Shadow or non-Mega Pokemon. So I think that's pretty good. The potential is there for Galarian Articuno here to be a good raid attacker, despite its shortcomings in PvP. And even if Galarian Articuno did fall behind, it got like Wing Attack instead of Gust, or it got Sky Attack instead of Fly, it'd still be as good as Moltres at the very least, because it's only 1 point less attack than what Moltres has going on, and then it's non-legacy for the charge attack, so that's also, standing out for it too. So could be as good as Moltres, could be better than Moltres. We'll have to see what the future holds. Next up, we got Galarian Zapdos. This Roadrunner looking ass is a flying fighting type Pokemon. Max CP at level 40 would be 3,548. At level 50, 4,012. And it's got a pretty impressive 252 attack stat, which is higher than Conkeldurr, which is higher than Machamp, which is higher than Lucario. So it could stand out as a fighting type raid attacker, which is pretty impressive. Then when it comes to the PvP side of the force, even though being attack weighted usually isn't a good thing, like I counted it against the Articuno back there, things could work out for Galarian Zapdos in the Ultra League, and maybe even in the Great League, if it could ever fit into the Great League, because in its natural learn set, it can get Counter. So it can get Counter, it can get Brave Bird, and it can get Close Combat. So basically, it can do the job that Staraptor could only wish it could do, because Staraptor cannot learn Counter, and Staraptor does not have Stab on the Close Combat. Galarian Zapdos has both of those things. So yeah, being that flying fighting nuke attacker, Galarian Zapdos could just swoop right in, take its job. After the Community Day even. I haven't done a Gust Staraptor Community Day video yet. If you do want to see that breakdown, I should have it coming out in the next few days here. So if you want to know the secrets about Galarian Staraptor, if you want to know the secrets about Gust Galarian, give me a break here. Gust Staraptor. Well, make sure to subscribe, and I should have that video out shortly. But at the moment, I'm not terribly impressed with it, but it does have a couple perks here and there. But Galarian Zapdos, if it comes out and it has the right moveset, yeah, it could just kind of take its job and do it better for the most part. I mean, it wouldn't be a flying type fast move, so it'd be different, right? It'd be different. At any rate, I think there's some pretty good hopes lined up here for Galarian Zapdos to be a powerful Pokemon all across the meta. When you punch it into the DPS TDO spreadsheet here, though, one thing that does hold Galarian Zapdos back and puts its performance to about the level of Blaziken. Technically, it's a little bit better than Blaziken because it's got more TDO, but whatever, right? It's worse than Machamp. And that's all you really need to know. And that's because it doesn't have the multi-bar, it doesn't have dynamic punch. That's like kind of the main thing here. If you want to be a good fighting type, you have to have dynamic punch. Maybe cross chop could get you by. Close combat being a single bar charge move really isn't cutting it. Now, Galarian Zapdos does have a signature attack called like Thunderous Kick or Thunder Kick or something like that. Despite the electric modifier in the name, it's actually a fighting type move. And if that's a multi-bar charge move that's as strong, if not more powerful than Dynamic Punch, then Galarian Zapdos could, pull ahead as a fighting type rate attacker. But until we see something like that, Galarian Zapdos will be okay in raids. It won't be bad in raids, but it'll be mostly a PvP Pokemon until that point comes. So, and with how signature moves have been going lately, the Eon duo, Latios, it kind of got done and dirty there, in my opinion. I wouldn't hold too much hope for it, but the possibility is always there. And then finally, we got Galarian Moltres. I want you to guess what the subtype is for Galarian Moltres. All of them have traded out. The electric, the ice, now the fire is going to get traded out. Could it possibly be a flying dark type Pokemon? Yeah, no, Galarian Moltres is definitely a flying dark type Pokemon. With a relatively low max CP at level 40 of 3,167, at level 50, 3,580. What's going on with that? Well, what's going on with that is Galarian Moltres is trading its like offensive presence. Like OG Moltres is like 251 attack stat. We're going down to 202 on the attack stat. And for the trade-off here, we are boosting up our bulk a bit. So a tankier, dark flying version of Moltres. I mean, it's kind of hard to say it's a version of Moltres. It looks like Moltres, but different type, different stats in a pretty noticeable way. So a very different Pokemon. So when it comes to the raid side of the force, even with the best possible like flying or dark type moveset, I really don't see this Pokemon standing out in the raid meta just because of that low 202 attack stat. So where could it stand out with a low attack stat? Well, we got PvP. And given that the level 20 CP is 1800, we're looking at Ultra League PvP. And in Ultra League PvP, it's got Mandibuzz to compete with. And Mandibuzz is going to be tankier than Galarian Moltres. So the only way Galarian Moltres can really pull ahead is if it has a higher value moveset than Mandibuzz there. And even then, it may not outright replace Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz would probably still be on top just because, that tankiness is so huge. And then having Snarl or Air Slash combined with the Dark Pulse or the Foul Play is really, really good. But it's got the Aerial Ace, right? So the Aerial Ace is a place where Galarian Moltres could pull ahead. It can learn Sky Attack, it can learn Fly, it can get Brave Bird. So Galarian Moltres could stand out as a more aggressive alternative to the Mandibuzz. And then when it comes to the flying type fast moves, it could also get more like high value flying type fast moves as well. So it could be an interesting option in the Ultra League. Problem right now though is that flying dark type, Mandibuzz in general right now isn't looking too good in the Ultra League. Registeel just kind of dominates the meta. And then you also got big fairy types all over the place. So if you're not able to, manage Registeel, you're not able to manage the fairy types, you're probably going to have a rough time. And then Walreign's also kind of chilling in the back along with other Pokemon. So yeah, and then fighting Registeel, even though it does look like a Firebird still, it's still got the blaze going on. Galarian Moltres doesn't learn any fire type attacks, like period. At least from what I can tell, precisely 0 fire type moves. It does have a signature move called like Fiery Wrath, but that's a dark type attack. So yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not too sure. Like when it comes out, I don't think it's going to be that great. Maybe as the meta develops, if Registeel stops being the king of everything, right? There could be potential for Galarian Moltres in the future, especially on top of that if it gets the right moveset. But right now, things are looking a little bleak for the coolest of the 3 Galarian birds here. Like when it comes to the Kanto trio, Team Instinct all the way, Zapdos is by far the coolest. But I mean, just look at Galarian Moltres, right? But I don't know if it's going to be all that good in the meta, where the other 2 birds have some potential. We'll have to wait and see what happens when it comes out, what that moveset exactly is, and then maybe hold out some more hopes in the future for Registeel to stop dominating all over the place, or something to change in the Ultra League. So that's all I gotta say about the Galarian Bird Trio here for Pokemon Go. Right now, We don't have any confirmation on when they're coming out. The assumption is that they're going to come out as early as July 27th, but we'll have to wait and see. But as things stand right now, all three of them look pretty good in the Pokemon Go meta. Fingers crossed that they get the right movesets, right? If you got any questions on this content, of course, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this kind of content and you want to see more like it, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. That Pokemon Go gives them some of the better moves so they can actually stand out in the meta, and it has the full like retinue of flying type attacks. Is retinue even used, or like the right word? Retinue. Group of advisors. I don't think that makes sense. Improper use of retinue there.